Good morning, friends. Today's morning elaboration is on the topic illiteracy and lack of awareness are the cause of all evils in our country. See, illiteracy is defined by the United Nations as an inability to read and write an ordinary message or perform any activity independently. The United Nations, define illiteracy as the inability to read and write simple message in any language. An illiterate is equal to a handicapped person who is unfamiliar with his surroundings and is unable to perform day-to-day activities like driving due to inability to read the traffic symbol. It is hard to believe that a country that had the first university in the world lies among the countries having the most illiterate population. India is having the highest number of illiterates in the world, and that is quite shameful. If we talk about in terms of location, topography, culture, and richness of resources, India is still having the highest, number of, geographical locations, rich culture, richness of resources. But this is all in vain if our development of human resources is not as par excellence. Every issue that our society faces is linked to the issue of literacy. See, at the moment when we are facing the worst time of pandemic, for the last 2 years, rather you can say since 2020, we have been struggling against the pandemic COVID-19, and one of the major reasons why our country is not coping with the challenges is, illiteracy and lack of awareness in the rural population. See, India is having the highest rural population. In the rural population, still the norms of health and hygiene is far to talk about. People are not at all aware of the way of living hygienically. Secondly, the health infrastructure at the rural population level is very poor in our country. Because of that, we see that every day in the news it is being shown that many villages have been in the grip of the COVID-19, and because there is no medical access to these villages, people are dying and they are helpless. So this is also linked to the issue of illiteracy. See, had the people really been aware and literate, they would have at least followed. Since 2-3 months we have been talking about keeping our hands neat and clean, washing hands frequently, using mask. In the rural population, people are not still using mask. They are not at all aware of the importance of using mask. So illiteracy is the cause of several evils. All the illiteracy is also the cause of child labor, child abuse, unemployment, and female feticide, population burst, and many more. The spread and diffusion of literacy is generally associated with essential trait of, today's civilization, such as modernization, urbanization, and industrialization, communication, and spread of commercialization. Today's civilized population is mainly defined by urbanization and growth of education. In India, still the primary education is not up to the mark. There are many dropouts. The children are not motivated to attend schools at primary level, and the education policy is still not having adequate approach to initiate the methods of including children in the group of 6 to 12 as an universal education system. Though government of India has taken many initiatives to include this, spread of diffusion of education has been speeded up because of the initiative taken by the government of India. India is the home of half of the world's illiterates. It is really a matter of shame for any Indian to talk about. So illiteracy is a bane. It is the cause of lack of awareness. India is a country of paradoxes. On one hand, we are giving the largest number of engineers and doctors to the world, to the global level. On the other hand, we are having pool of unemployed and illiterate people also. The condition of women in India is still grim. Of the 14 crore household, almost 8.4 crores do not have a literate housewife. That means 50% of the women are still not having proper education. Illiteracy in India is characterized by a wide gap between the urban and rural population. The rural population depends mainly on agriculture. The rate of illiteracy is high, while the urban population is an employee class where education is adequate. Some of the reasons why we have this lack of awareness and high illiteracy. First reason is high rate of population growth in relation to low rate of growth in adult illiteracy. Second one is ineffectiveness of primary education in enrolling and retaining the dropouts. Traditional outlook of the lower class in using the services and including the children to the primary level, high level of poverty, low allotment of government funds to the education, caste imbalance and technological barriers, and failure on the part of the several agencies. A higher literacy rate is an essential requirement for any nation to become powerful. The government of India took many initiatives to tackle the problem of illiteracy. The Supreme Court, in a ruling in 1973, said that children had a fundamental right to free education, and because of that, in 2003, the right to education was incorporated in the Constitution under the 83rd Amendment Act. Several other schemes were also taken. The National Policy of Education 1986 declared that the whole nation must commit itself to drive away the menace of illiteracy. In Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan 2001 was launched to ensure that all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years of age attend schools and complete 8 years of schooling. Midday meal scheme to improve the nutritional status of the children. Rashtriya Madhyamik Shiksha Abhiyan 2009 to enhance access to secondary education. Beti Bachao Beti Padhao 2015 to save the and empower the girl child. Even though a number of initiatives have been taken by the government, yet it is not more. The problem is that we have to educate the rural population on our individual approach. Every literate person must make the rural population aware of the common system of health and hygiene. They should talk about, they should not depend on the quacks. The quacks are now treating the patient in the rural area. They do not have the degrees and diploma, but they are just giving. So they should be aware. They should reach the primary health center, PSC, and they should also try to keep themselves hygienically healthy, because once they are aware of the health and common health and hygiene, once they are aware of the educative value of health and hygiene, they will themselves be clean, neat and clean. Their body will be clean, their clothes will be clean. They will keep themselves on a balanced diet. They will also have a regular washing of hands and using of mask, and they will follow all the COVID appropriate behavior. Like in the urban population, people are now aware of this importance, and unless and until they themselves take up the responsibility of helping the nation fight with this menace, we will not be able to get rid of this huge threatening fatal disease COVID-19. So illiteracy and lack of awareness are closely related. The more literate and educated states and countries are still, as par excellence, they are capable of handling any situation, and the population where there is a larger number of people who are illiterate, this problem still prevails. So we have to see that India must be 100% literate. The government, the people as a whole, the whole nation should take care of making India completely literate, because once the literacy rate is high, we are 10% literate, we will attain the power of global economic infrastructure, and we will be able to stand in the among the developed countries. So the government as well as the people must be, it is rightly said by Barack Obama, change will not wait. If we wait for some other person, we will have to go for the change. And go for the change means we must initiate to bring out a complete change in the educational pattern of the country and make India 10% literate. Then only India will be totally independent. Thank you. Have a nice day.